Welcome back, dear viewers, and you're still watching The Breakfast Show. And in this segment of our program, we will talk about the government plan to expand the establishment of industrial complexes across the country and to provide the necessary financial resources in order to integrate the system of industrial complexes with a strategy to increase the local components of the products. And today we are joined by Dr. Mostafa, Engineer Mostafa Waly. He's former General Manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as I was just saying that the government has a plan to increase and expand the establishment of industrial complexes across the country. So tell us more about this plan.
Yeah, first of all, this plan represents a very big objective and very important objective.
Yes.
Which will feed directly and will affect directly a lot of very important issues. Number one is the employment. Number two, when you increase the capacity of localization, that in itself will get directly, positively on a lot of financial indices, for example,
yes,
as importing of some components. In general, this is a development project, a very important development project, undertaken by a very qualified institution, part of the Ministry of Trade and the Industry, which is called the IDA, Industrial Development Authority, with actual great achievement on the ground.
Yes.
And if we get into the details, it's many, but all will serve this objective which you have been talking about.
So, sir, to what extent this strategy will help in increasing the local components of the products and also will help in increasing Egyptian exports and reducing imports, and of course all this will help the economy to grow?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if we take the first issue or the first objective, you know, first, that to have such industrial complexes, then we are actually going according to the best practices in developing, even for the developing country and the developed countries. Because if you have certain areas where you can get the people together, where you can get the businesses together, and generally and most of the time it is small and medium projects.
Small and medium
enterprises, but in this case it's a project, you know. To materialize it, then you have to have the most important requirement is to have a building, then you have the utilities, and then you have your machinery, then you have your technology, and then you have your market. As you see, it's a series of requirements. If you facilitate it, then immediately you will get what you call a vibrant industrial community, badly needed, especially in the remote areas where the unemployment is evident, where by putting things in order, you will be in the middle of serving bigger industries, then you can feed such industries, reducing the cost of transportation and a lot of things. It's a very interesting project, actually, and if we take it, because you can split it across geographically, because it's very fascinating. It's covering now this kind of project, which is, you know, industrial complexes to help and develop small and medium enterprises. You will find it across. You will find it across whole Egypt, actually. You know, starting from the north to the south, and on both sides of the Red Sea. I mean, on our side of the Red Sea, down to Hurghada, and the best of it, and the most important feature of such project now, is that you have a ready to go, a ready to start business, which means manufacturing in this case, because most of them are for industry. And they cover every aspect, or many aspects, actually, many aspects of the types of the industry itself. But mainly it would be for feeding industry. That in itself is a big gain for the human resources in Egypt, developing and, you know, expertise And then comes the time when these small enterprises is a success story to the limit they can export everywhere.
And in your opinion, what kind of industries can Egypt expand in establishing these kind of industries in Egypt? Is Egypt specialized in a certain kind of industry and excel in it?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned, that this mainly will be a kind of feeding industry, because they will manufacture some parts for certain industries required, you know, either it is imported, or sometimes it's very difficult to have.
Spare parts, you mean?
Actually, it could be spare parts, but it could be a part of an end product for the big industries. You know.
Actually, we have plans to manufacture cars.
Yes. I was about to tell you, because this was my area for quite some time.
Yes,
you know,
please elaborate on this.
Yes, this goes back even to 20 years
now.
So
not only spare parts, now we can...
No, we went to, we had a very good, we have a big stride in this kind of industry, especially automotive. Because right now we have a very big umbrella, a very big, let's say, factories and institutions on the ground working for the feeding industry for automotive. And then we reached actually some very good percentage. You know, we reached up to 60% in some areas for automotive. We are assembling automotive here with a lot of local content. I witnessed it even when it started, you know, let's say since the 80s. And feeding industries is there, because a lot of these small enterprises now, they are doing very well, you know. Some even are exporting to the OEM.
The spare parts of cars?
And it's some parts, you know, exported.
We started to export them.
Yeah, yes. They manage over the years to get to the
So now we are ready to maybe to have our own factory that is specialized in automotive, like in Nasr factory that was existing long ago in Egypt.
I mean, yes, in a sense, yes. We have a lot of even, you know, brands from Korea to European. It's there. It's there already. With a lot of development is going on, and soon we will have this electric car, and this is a big field.
It's going to be made in Egypt.
That will be a green field for us, like many others, and then we can capture in it.
So we have plans to have
factories
for electric cars in Egypt.
Yes, and it's fortunately is under the umbrella of the Ministry of Industries. You know, what we call, you know, military industries. And,
So, sir, the President also gave orders for upgrading the system of industrial technical schools and enhancing the capabilities of the staffers through cooperation with the private sector. And I think this is a very important step to improve the skills of the workers and staffers. To what extent this will make a difference in the industry? And do we really need this now?
We need it, for sure we need it. We need any sort or source for upgrading our capacities, or upgrading our human development. In this case, it's really fascinating that Mr. President Sisi was so keen to follow and to go and probe and try to get to Egypt. Even the Japanese, as you see, now we have the Japanese. He was working hard and talking about it. It's going to be materialized on larger scale. It was there already, but on minor scale. Now it will be there on Japanese school, for example, as you have seen or you have read. That there will be like this. Germany is also there. So when we talk about this, these people generally, with their history of development in industry at large, they accumulated a lot of experience, which it's for their goodness actually that they spill it over to people like us who are dealing with them. So it will make kind of contribution positively for both parties. And I witnessed sometime that there were some projects when it comes to this technical and vocational training. There was a project like this. But anyway, we can resume it on larger scale now. We need it now. And it will work.
I think that the government now is keen to manufacture everything on its own, like the vaccine. We have now seen that Egypt was a pioneer, the first African country to establish a factory for vaccines like the Sinovac. It will be produced in Egypt and it will be also exported to many African countries. So I think that there is a plan to achieve self-sufficiency in every aspect.
Right. Well, that's an ultimate goal. We hope we can reach it. But in general, if you don't get it to the maximum, then you get the best out of it. Because if you see the interdependence of economies of the whole world, there is interdependence now, not independent totally, interdependence between, look at the big economies, China and America, China and the West in general, and so on. So increasing the local content in itself is a surplus in everything, positive surplus. In number one, reducing the deficit of balance of trade.
Yes.
Because you will replace it of trade, you will replace import by export even, or even reduce the cost of import. Drastically it happens. And there are some areas where there were very good results. Look, for example, when just, we have this correction of our fiscal policy, and my financial policy, with the adjustment of the dollar to Egyptian currency, to the Egyptian pound. Immediately, a lot of people thought that they can get back to right to have and then we saved a lot. That's true. That's part of it. But the most important thing that you have the capacity to manufacture on large scale, so you reduce your cost, and hopefully also you will have that technical and the qualifications of those who are in this production process to have a quality product, so you can beat in the market, and then back again, this will contribute directly to your balance of payment, trade balance at least.
So, sir, how important is providing, actually, no, I'm talking about the small and medium enterprises, and it encourages the culture of self-employment in the development of small and medium enterprises. So how do you see this culture of self-employment? I think that is the future now.
This is a characteristic when you have it. It's actually in the well, let's say the literature of the common literature of social thinking or social behavior in some countries. That's the entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Inclination, or
innovation,
the more you have
creativity.
The more you have this, because this is human beings. I mean, these are individuals sometimes. Most of the cases are individuals. If you have more of that, and you have the necessary and the needed courage and in support to supply, to give to these people, the success stories is tremendous. It started with Bill Gates, and it started with you name it. That's the concept. I think now in Egypt, a lot of people, a lot of young men, do have the chance to develop and to think, and will have the support, and some got the support and made success stories. Let's increase this. Let's increase, put it in under one title. You know what they call it? Startups. Get as much as startups. Because when you have startup, it means you have done your homework, from preparation, from knowing your market, knowing your product, knowing everything, so you can have a success story.
So also the President issued directives for conducting in-depth studies on the transfer of modern industrial technology in the fields of high priority through going into partnerships with major international companies in a way that ensures the sustainability of industries in Egypt in the long term. So what is the importance of this partnership? To what extent it can help
It's
Egypt?
very important. I give you examples I have witnessed, and my generation, people like me, have witnessed this. Without the direct involvement of big German industries with China, a lot couldn't have been done in China. I'm talking about now Germany and China. Apply this also for America and China. If you go a little bit far in the past,
yes,
in the 70s and 60s, you find this between America, USA, and China and Japan. This I have witnessed myself. A lot of people have witnessed this. So the issue of those who have the know-how, who have the highest level of technology in certain area of industry, if you can get to them in any form of cooperation, the least of them that you take part of their experience, real experience in the field. It is not a difficult story, but it needs people who are really know what they are going to do. So you can't ask a non-professional to ask professional to help him. I mean, you have minimum the real professionalism in the business or the industry where you can communicate and to define exactly what are your needs.
Yes.
And the other party will help in this. I was very fascinated that His Excellency President Sisi was nominating exactly how it should be done. It should be with the big names in the industries, the tycoons in the industries. And that's true.
So, sir, also, if we talk about the challenges that face Egyptian industries nowadays, how can we overcome these challenges in order to achieve our targets?
Are we talking industries at large or in our project, in our subject, which is small
and
our
medium enterprises? Let's focus on our subject.
Number one, actually, it was the physical support. The physical support in this case. Number one is to, if there is everything is ready from the partner of the entrepreneur, the soon will be entrepreneur. He have done his work, I mean his studies, everything, and he needs the following. He needs first the ground, the area where he can have his facilities.
Yes.
Now it is there. So this is number one. And it's there with all the utilities needed. And this is fascinating about these industrial complexes.
Yes.
I am familiar with them because it's ready. You will say sometimes when you get something ready to, you know, plug and play. It is not a play, it is plug and operate.
Yes.
That's it. That's number one. Number two, of course, you need the finance to have, you know, your current production cycle as it should be needed.
Yes.
The more the banks will help, this is the banks, directly it's the banks. The more the banks will be robust enough, clever enough to pick up those who show that they can fulfill the bank's demand later on when it comes to reimbursement. I mean,
yes.
Which means the probability of the success of such enterprise is there. So the banks should go in.
Yes.
And the government is helping in this.
Finally, I'd like to thank you, Engineer Mostafa Waly, former General Manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
And viewers, by that we come to the end of today's edition of The Breakfast Show. Thank you for watching.